Good morning and happy Thursday. Welcome. Welcome to the Real Talk with Michelle. So, during the Real Talk, I'm actually going to show you exactly how I create content. This is actually one of the big topic. A lot of my members who come through the Facebook group, one of the biggest frustration that everybody share is how do you create content consistently on social media? And I pride myself for having that consistency. So if you follow me on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or anywhere in this world, you'll notice that I pretty much post every single day. Now, you may not follow me on multiple platforms, but if you were to check out all my platforms, you can count on having something on a daily basis. And I did a poll yesterday about whether or not you create content and how often do you create it and what type of content do you create. So majority, I believe it was 50% of the people who had indicated that you post something every single day. Now, every single day that is a lot of content that you have to create, right? So one of the key elements that a lot of time I will share my student is that instead of feeling stressed out and feeling overwhelmed by having to show up every single day, I want you to actually scale back a little bit and think about what is reasonable, what is doable based on your schedule. Who says that you have to post every single day in order to get client? No one, there's no rule book on that, right? It's the quality over the quantity of the content that you're creating. If you're going to randomly post something and it doesn't really lead your audience to anywhere, it doesn't really talk about like what is it that you can do for them, then don't post anything, right? So I always encourage everyone to actually post with intention. This way your viewer, your followers would actually have know what the purpose of your consuming your content would be. So today we're going to talk about how to create consistent content on social media so that you can actually work on converting your audience to your clients. Well, first we got to get people to start following you first, right? So and that's the whole idea of creating these content so that you will get noticed, you will get your visibility and people will start knowing you, and therefore, once you people know you, like you, and trust you, then you can turn them into paying client. Now, those of you who have come to my storytelling workshop, you probably have already nailed your niche and your target audience. So if I want you to do me a favor, as you're dropping in, I want you to actually put down your niche. Like, what is it that you do, your niche and your target audience? Who are you helping? Now, you may be helping everybody, which is fine. Just put down your niche, okay? And also who your ideal avatars are, your ideal client. Who do you love to work with? And those are the people that we want to create our content for. You don't want to create content for everybody, right? It's like going to a buffet. When you go to a buffet, you're not a buffet. You go to a buffet and there's like food for everybody, right? And you look around, you're like really overwhelmed. Which station do I go first, right? You have the grill that's going on in one side, you have the barbecue, you have the sushi bar on the other side. So you walk into a buffet and you get really overwhelmed. Exactly, which station do I start? Same thing with your audience. You know, they come into your front door, whether it's a website or your social media link or somewhere, they started to notice you. And the moment that you throw out like random posts, it's like you're throwing out a buffet and you're making people feeling very overwhelmed. They don't know exactly what you do. And this is something that I was struggling with when I first started my own business. And I was just, I'm in the service space. I want to help everybody. So that's exactly what I did. I had this beautiful buffet style layout for everybody, and you can get a piece of chocolate, you can get some ice cream here, and it was just for everybody. So we're going to fix that by narrowing down your niche and also your target audience. If you target everybody, then it's really hard to focus on exactly what do I create. So that's typically your number one thing that you need to take care of. So if you haven't have a niche or you don't know who your ideal avatar is, actually, I would invite you to go back to work on that portion first. If you need a worksheet, just go ahead and drop me a comment or DM me. I'll be more than happy to share my soulmate client worksheet with you so that you can fix that part first before we move on to creating content. Now, once you have your signature story, typically you already know, you have an idea of who you're targeting for. Who are your ideal client? Those are people who that you want to serve. These are the people that you want to work with. So as you're dropping, if you as you're coming in, just go ahead and drop that for me into the chat so I know who you're helping with what. All right. So once you have that down, the next thing, the next burning issue is, how do I actually put this all together that makes sense, right? How do I create content that focus around my story that would actually make sense and resonate with my target audience? So a lot of people go around and thinking, well, I can talk about adversity. I can talk about resilience. I can talk about overcoming obstacles. There's so many different topics that I can talk about based on the story that I'm telling. So how do I get it started? So you probably have lots of idea of what you want to share, but you don't know where to start. The second problem is that a lot of time I notice that when we're thinking as coaches, when we're thinking and saying things, we are coming off from a very high energy level. Like yesterday, I had a conversation with one of my mastermind students, one of my master coach, and she said that her belief is that aging is not a problem. Aging a the your age is just a number. It doesn't mean anything, right? But if you really dial back a little bit, and from like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, when you were still young and you're still hiking, you're running, you're doing a lot of physical activity, of course aging is not a thing. Aging is just a number. But most people, they care about the number. It's all about the number. Right? I'm turning 50 soon. And people are thinking, oh my gosh, 50 is a big number. They're focusing on the number. So they don't have what you believe in. So if you were to just talk about how beautiful it is without the number, then it doesn't make sense to them. So a lot of time I see coaches having coming out from creating their content based on that high level of consciousness. You already overcome it. You already got over that journey of challenges and problems. You already solved you already got what you got. So it's really hard to create content to resonate with the client who's still struggling with what they're going through. And the third problem that a lot of people have problems or delaying in the process of creating content is that you don't have enough time. And time is so precious, and I know this is a real conversation. Actually, this whole video is actually an inspiration from a conversation with one of my friends, who also took my graveyard brand challenge course last year. And she had a comment. She made a comment because she was lagging. She wasn't creating content. I haven't seen her for a while, for some time, and she was busy. And so she's busy, and I asked her, how do you create your content? And she's like, oh, I just write something. I just throw something together. And which prompt me to do this video, because I'm going to show you a system that totally work, and you can do this anywhere, any place, anytime. And it's going to create so much of the take the stress out of your like content creation life. So those are the three problems that I noticed. Number one is you have too many ideas, you don't know where to begin. Number two is that you're coming off from a very high level consciousness, and so your audience is not getting it. They're still focusing on what's wrong with me. They're not resonating with the fact that you have the tool, you have the opportunity, and you know exactly what to do. So it's not connecting with them. And the third problem is that you just don't have enough time to sit down and actually create it. You may have a 9 to 5 job and you need to be somewhere or do something. So you really don't have time to sit down and actually write and create a post. So those are the three problems. And I'm going to give you three key takeaways Okay, so this is a process. So every time I create any content, this is a process which I use to create any type of content that I have. Okay, the first I'm gonna call it the CPR. So I have a healthcare background. So a lot of time, we do CPRs. When something is urgent, something you need to take care of, something there's a medical emergency, which when you're overwhelmed and you're running like a hamster on the wheel, chances are you're feeling like it's an emergency. And if you have to create content on the fly, it is an emergency. Okay, we gotta take care of that. So I'm going to show you the three-step process, which I call CPR. So the C is capture. So how do you capture the idea? And number two is P. P is production. How do you capture the idea, move it to production, and then lastly, the R is to release it. Okay, so how do you go from capture to production and to actually to release it? We're gonna do a whole CPR of your content creation so that tomorrow you'll have a better way of organizing all the stuff that you're creating. And you should never have to create content on the fly. Okay. All right. So just drop me in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Type in taco and I will send you a taco. I will actually buy you taco. Okay, so there are three key process of how we create content. And by the way, stay till the end because I am going to share something pretty cool with you, and I will do a share screen so I can walk you through exactly how do I CPR my content creation right here. All right. So start with the topic. Those of you who came to the My Story workshops, you walk away with your key elements of the story that you want to tell. From that story, we're going to depict different topic that you can focus on. When you think back, like in the early coaching program curriculum, you learn that the life is like a pie, right? It's a pie, and it consists of all these different sections of your life. You have the social, you have environmental, you have your career. We call it the wheel of life. So life is a pie, and you have different section on that pie. You can talk about the pie, but that's gonna be like walking into a buffet restaurant, and you're gonna have to like pick a lot of different things to talk about, which is very overwhelming, right? And sometimes, depending on your skill, you may not be able to hit all the points, and your audience would be lost. So what we're going to do is take your signature story. So think back, last weekend on Sunday, you sat down and you actually had a my signature story. From that story, I want you to think about three major topic from your story, or three major lessons that you have learned from your own journey. Okay, so from your signature story, pick out three major life lessons that you have learned. And sometimes the easiest way that you do this is actually just think about what value did I learn, right? So a lot of my clients would hear this over and over. So what value have you learned, and what are your values? And a lot of time we learn those values from our real life experiences. And how did you experience those real life experiences? You actually went through that whole journey yourself, and those came from your story. So I would bring my client back to think about the three non-negotiable life really hard lessons, your aha moment that you have learned from that story that you created. All right. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna pick a topic. Let's start with my niche is women empowerment coach, for example. Okay, my niche is women empowerment, and my target audience would be women who are in transition, who just had a divorce, and they're looking to have a new career. Those are the women I want to target. Okay, all right, so niche is women empowerment. My target audience are women in transition who just got a divorce, and they're looking for a way to advance in their career. All right, so you're gonna sit down, and this is where the capture portion comes in. Uh, three values, right? So my values are, for example, authenticity. When when if you were to think back at a time on your journey, when was the time that you didn't feel authentic enough. You didn't feel you were yourself, right? So think about those moments, think about those times. And what questions were you searching for to answer? What were you looking for? What type of solution you were looking for? And I want you to actually think of it as in the question format. So let's say I wasn't feeling authentic because um, how do I? So one of the question that you might ask would be, how do I um, be real? How do I say no to my colleague when I don't want to do overtime? Okay. How do I say no to my colleague when I really don't want to do overtime? Like there are days where, you know, I'm really tired and I don't want to do the extra work. I don't want to do overtime, but when your colleague asks and you just kind of feel bad. You don't want to say no, but you know you don't want to do it because you're tired. Um, so what do you do? How do I say no? How do I say no to people? And that might be one of the questions, for example, that you're asking back in the days when you were struggling trying to find that self-identity or trying to, stand firm about who you are and what is it that you want in your life. So that would be capturing, just brainstorming all the questions that you had perhaps, or you were trying to look for answers for, or perhaps you heard it from someone else who looks like and feels like your ideal clients and they're asking the same question. So what I do is a lot of time I would go and look in the groups, in Facebook group or anywhere I hear conversation, I would pay attention to what people are saying, what people are asking. So you can do like when you go into the group, a lot of us get really consumed about like what's going on in the group, right? I don't like that energy. I don't like people having drama. I don't like this and I don't like that. But if you think about, if you stand back on your purpose of being in that group, what is it that you're contributing into that group? Are you being a consumer or are you being a observer watching and learning from and growing from that group? Right. So if you're just gonna be in there and hoping that, oh, there's gonna be some drama going on, then exit out of that group. That's not the whole intention of being in that group, right? I always like to come up things as having a purpose and having a good intention. Your intention in going that in that group may be networking, maybe participation, maybe engaging others or asking questions, then do that, right? So which is why I encourage everyone to like do engagement. Like I have a lot of posts that you can commenting on it. The more that you comment on it, the more people are going to know about you as a business owner. People's going to know you as a person. When people see something that feels right, what are they going to do next? They're going to come to you first, right? So you got to put yourself out there and be more engaging in if you want to have a business that grows. But otherwise, don't join the groups. Don't waste your time. Your time is so valuable. So as you're in the group, that's what you do. You stop being a consumer and you actually go into the group and look at what people are asking. You learn so much from the conversation, and those becomes the capture part of what we're talking about here to create your content. All right, so I could be in a Facebook group where it's about women empowerment, and these are the women who are in transition after a divorce, and I'm going to go into the group and pay attention to exactly what they're saying, what people are asking, what people are talking about, what question can I help to answer. And you're going to be going in there and be helpful. And this is like step number one that I encourage all my clients to do is you're going to join some of the group, but your intention in being in a group is not so that you can promote, that you can market yourself. Your intention inside the group is to be helpful. Pay attention to what people are saying and be helpful so that your name will be out there so that you can actually contribute to something that's very valuable and people are going to remember that. All right. So as you're in the group, those are great inspiration where you can ask more questions, create more contents that answer the questions, right? Okay, so I'm going to the group and I'm helping them asking the question. That becomes my topic of what I can relate to my own personal experience, to my own personal signature story. So I used to call myself the expert of negative self talk. So I would go and join a lot of these Facebook group that focus on negative self-talk, imposter syndrome, or confidence group, right? How do you build confidence? And what I do is I look at people's comment, I review their comments, I see what people are asking, and what I would do is I would come out of those group and create content. I would write a blog post, I would do a video, I would have a podcast episode to talk about imposter syndrome. I would have a I don't know, a social media post that give people 3 tips on how to overcome the imposter syndrome, right? So you always have a very streamlined topic that trace back to your own signature story. Okay, everyone have a different story and you may have a different approach and you will have different tips. So there's not going to be a single one post that looks exactly the same because the way that you learned it is very different from someone else who's learning it. So that's how I create it. Okay, so capture your idea by paying attention to the conversation. What's going on in the news? What's happening right now in the world? What are people feeling, right? All these ideas can be captured, which is the step number one of how you create your consistent content on social media, is you want to capture all these amazing great questions that your ideal client is trying to answer. All right. And so that's capturing. I'll show you a system where we capture that. So the second part of once you have those ideas captured, how do you move it to production? So again, we're doing a 3 process. Okay. So the capture, CPR, we're going to do CPR for your content creation. So the C is capturing the ideas. The second part is the actual production of what you have captured. The production, the production part, you're going to need to have a system. Okay, the system that allows you to sit down and not doing the heavy lifting. You ever go to like the gym or even that's stay with the buffet scenario. So you're going to the buffet, right? There's a lot of people who pile up on a lot of stuff on their plate and they're minimizing the trip that needed to go to the station, right? To go to the food station. So what you see is a whole plate full of food. And if you ever drop that plate, you're done. You're finished. Yeah. Right. You're gonna have to go back and you're gonna have to do it again. So a lot of that is really heavy lifting. You're heavy lifting a lot of things on that plate. You're putting so much on that plate. And if that plate is if you dropped it, you're gone. You're done. You're finished. So you're gonna have to start over. So we're gonna do a little thing called we're going to call it a slow burning process. Yes, content creation is a lot. It can be overwhelming. It can be, one of those things that you don't really want to do it, but you don't have much choice because you don't have the budget to actually hire someone to do it. So we're gonna talk about it as a slow burning process where you do it as a slow burn instead of putting a heavy plate. Now we're just going to go to one station. We're going to pick everything that we want to eat on that plate from that station. We're going to come back to it, digest, and then relax, then go on to the next session and see what we love. And we can pick from that station. So if something dropped, you can bet that because it was not heavy lifting, it would be so much easier. So I'm going to show you a system that I use. How do you move a idea that you capture into a production? All right. So with this, I'm going to share my screen. And this is something that I use. I absolutely love and adore this. Okay. This is a system called Notion. So Notion is a note-taking app. Okay, a very simple note-taking app. You can do this on any note-taking app that you want. You can open up your Apple Notes and you can do this same process on your Apple Notes. I like Notion because it's organized in such a way that I don't have to do a lot of moving pieces. Okay. So it's how I organize all my content creation here. And I am going to share this template with you at the end of this talk so that you can actually have the exact system of how I use Notion to create my content consistently on social media. Okay. I'm going to show you a demo version and I will show you my real version so that you can get a feel of what it looks like in once you start having a lot more content to share. All right. Don't worry, I'm going to have this available to you at the end of the show so that you have a copy of it. All right. So we are going to take a look on my Notion app. All right. I'm going to enlarge this. Wait. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I have. It's called a content planner. So we talked about the first process of capturing idea. So any ideas that you have, you can start recording it into your Notion app. Okay, let's say, for example, how do I say no to my colleagues when I don't want to work overtime? So that was my first idea, and I'm targeting. So this is an example. And if you're watching this slide, again, drop your niche and drop who are you targeting, who's your target audience that you would like to create content for in the chat. So if I know there's delay, so I can use that for you if you want me to give you some idea of what to talk about next. Okay, all right. So let's say this is the idea that I'm capturing. How do I say no to my colleague when I don't want to work overtime? And I'm targeting women who is in transition, who just got a divorce and then looking to advance in their career. And my niche is in women empowerment. Okay, so that would be just very simple, an idea that I captured that came through my head. I could be doing dinner, I could be preparing dinner, and that idea came to my head. What do? I go to my app version of Notion. I capture that topic title, okay, which is here, and I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't need to sit down and I know I don't need to move it to production yet. Okay. Now, let's do another example. Let's say I am a negative self talk. And how do I silence my negative self talk? That would be a question that a lot of people, a lot of your audience would be asking, right? How do I silence my negative self-talk? How do I let go of my judgy Juggerson, right? How do I stop judging myself? And that's all I'm doing. I'm just going like capturing a bunch of idea. And you do this over time. You don't have to do it in one sitting. Anytime, let's say you're on a treadmill, you're working out, or you're taking a walk in the woods, and some idea that pop in that would relate all your messages back to the story that you're telling, right? The whole idea of what are your non-negotiable values? What lessons have you learned? Those three big lessons that you have learned, and what questions can you ask around that? What would your ideal client be asking around those lessons? Those are the things that you want to capture. All right. So once you capture these idea, we're moving to the production. The good thing about Notion is each line creates a database or a data page. What essentially it is, it's a document that you can open up and compose right here inside Notion app. Okay. So I have the headline. How do I stop judging myself? That would be my idea that I want to elaborate on as a coach. And I'm going to teach my audience a lesson so that they can learn how to stop judging myself. All right. So I am going to open up. I'm ready to write, right? I'm ready in the production phase. So I'm going to open this as a full width, make it full page. Now here you go. Here's where you can compose your content. And when I share this, I'm going to give you all these templates. So you're going to see exact same thing, okay? So when I share the link with you, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the upper right-hand corner, make a duplicate. First, you need to have a free Notion account. And once you have a free Notion account, you're going to go up to the upper right-hand corner, make a duplicate for yourself. And this exact template is going to be yours, and you can use it for your future content creation. Okay. All right. So here's the idea that capture. I'm gonna write a social media post. I'm gonna write a caption. So what I have here, when you click on it, what's going to come up is my uh the 5W and 1H that I had talked about a couple of weeks ago, in a live training session. Okay, so I'm going to link that video for you. Uh, if you go to elevatelifecoaching.org webinar/24, you'll be able to watch that video. 5W and 1H. So what I have set up here is very simply helping you to capture that idea or elaborate on that idea. So here I'm going to elaborate on this idea that I wanted to capture and write and create. So my topic is, how do I stop judging myself? All right, so that is the headline. So my headline is, how do you stop judging yourself? And another question would be, you can say, ever felt like you are constantly beating yourself up? Okay, that would be another headline, right? That would be something that would be like this is what we call a hook. It's a headline. It's something that captures people's attention. Your negative self-talker are going to stop and read on, right? Because this is why it's important, if you don't have a niche and if you don't have a target audience yet, work on that. And I do have a worksheet. If you want, just drop worksheet, please, in the comment, and I will reach out to you. I will send you that worksheet. But that would be like your first step. So I'm assuming that when you're watching this video, you already got that part taken care of, right? You already have a niche and you already know who you are writing for, and this makes your content creation, your storytelling a lot more easier. All right. So, ever feel like you're constantly beating yourself up? Um, and here is the why, right? Why is this a big important topic for us to talk about? Well, if you are someone who constantly beat yourself up for the little things that happens in life, chances are you are missing a lot of big opportunities. You look for validation, you look for approvals, you look for other people to give you the permission to do what you love. Right? And this is the part where you start get into your ideal avatar, your ideal soulmate client's head. You think about, and this could be you, right? So this could be you years ago, and these are the things that's going through your head. You were doing a lot of external, looking for validation. You were looking for other people's approval. You were waiting for permission to do something, or you keep saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," which a lot of people do that, right? A lot of people walking around, when they bump into you, they say, "Oh, I'm sorry," but you didn't do anything wrong, right? But that's because we don't have a lot of self-confidence, we don't have a lot of self-esteem, and that's what people do. So you're going to be stepping into your shoes as you're thinking about what goes into your content creation, and so that you can talk about specifically how does that relate to your story. And that brings us to the next part, is the how, right? So how do I overcome this? And you can talk about in here, like, here are 3 tips on how to let go of your self judgment and be more confident. And here you give them 3 tips, or however many tips that you want to give them. Okay. Typically I like 3 because, 3 is a good number. Actually I like 5. Five is a magical number. Now 5 is a magical number. Okay, so the how part is you tell them how to do it. How is this being done? And then the last part is the who, which I left out. I will fix that when you get your template. So the who is who have done it, who has done this before, and you can talk about your own stories, right? So when I was in my 20s, I was doing a lot of people pleasing. I didn't believe in myself. And so you elaborate on with weaving your own personal journeys or stories or your case study or anyone who's related that you have heard before. This is where the who comes in. Who is just who has done this before? Like, right? People are looking for if this something that Michelle can do, then I can totally do this, right? You got to give people that believe that if someone else have done it, then chances are I can do it also. And you are the answer to how can this be done. And so when you write it in this way, you're not pushing selling or anything. You're just presenting facts. You're just presenting the way it is based on what you had captured up here. All right. So all this, you don't have to do it as one sitting. You can come back to it over a period of time. So let's say you have about 5 minutes and you're sitting in the subway station waiting for a bus, and there's an idea waiting for you to elaborate on. And certainly you watch someone who's like blaming themselves and they're doing like validation or something had happened. There's little tiny stories or pieces that you can bring into your idea here, then use that as inspiration to talk about, oh, I was just at a bus stop and this happened, and here is what you should know about this experience, A, B, C, and D, right? So you give people a real life example of how it can be related to the self judgment. So you do this over a period of time. You don't do this in one sitting. So what I like to do is I spread it out about like 2 to 3 days. Okay, so I could be cooking dinner, and after dinner I have a couple of minutes before I go to bed. I'm gonna come in here and see what inspired me. I'm gonna elaborate on a little bit, right? So what would be number one for overcoming that self judgment? Practice meditation for 5 minutes. And let's say later I thought about something else, maybe journaling, right? Write a judgment journal in your life, right? So these are the idea that comes to me over a period of time and not just in one sitting. I never have to feel pressure to write something or to elaborate on a topic that I want to talk about, because you always have the 3 main topics that you focus on. All right. And then down here, you will have a section for your hashtags. I will tell you that over the last 2 months, I have tested out the hashtags on Instagram. Hashtag, you just need 3 to 5. You don't really need the 30 anymore because that whole algorithm on Instagram has changed. So you really don't need all 30 to get your post seen. And you get actually more organic interaction if you just keep your content really engaging and stick to the point, and your hashtag is a reflection of those content that you're creating. You get a lot more better performance that way. So don't feel that you need to have all 30 hashtags all in here. Okay, so this is a template for the production portion. So we talked about the capture, which is capturing your idea, right? Capturing the headline, and then we move it into production. Here's the production type process where you write the using the 5W and 1H. And again, if you go to that website, elevatelifecoaching.org/webinar/24, you would be able to watch that video on 5W and 1H. All right. So once you create all this, once you finish the production part, then you'll notice up here, right? I have topic, goals, schedule date. You're going to give it a topic. So this topic is about judgment, for example. And that could be my that could be a topic that I talk about in my coaching business, right? I focus on negative self-talk. Great. So what about negative self-talk? A lot of it has to do with judgment, right? So I'm gonna focus on the topic of judgment. What else can I focus on based on negative self-talk? How about the inner critics, right? That's also judgment. I don't know. Right now, I have to think on the spot, which is I'm not really good at, and this is why I came up with the system, so I never have to create something on the fly. But you get the point, right? So if you want, just drop your niche, your target audience, and what are the three topic that you would like to focus on for your coaching business. And remember, it's that big pizza or pie that we look at. The life is a pie, the wheel of life, right? You're taking a portion out of that pie in your content creation that will lead people to wanting to sign up with you. They wanted to learn more about how can I get the whole pie rather than just a piece of pie, right? So don't give them the whole pie because you're gonna overwhelm them like a buffet station. So give them a little piece of what that pie looks like and focus on those pieces. Then it's going to invite more people to come and follow you. They wanted to engage with you and they wanted to learn more about your program. And when they come into your program, then you can give them the whole pie. Okay? We're talking about food today. It's lunchtime here, so all I can think about is food. All right. So once you have the topic, let's give it a goal. Anytime you post anything on social media, right? So those of you who posted those of you who post it every single day, I want you to start thinking about what purpose do what is the goal that you want this post to do for you. Lily's laughing because it's true, right? All I can think about is food right now. We go from the buffet to the pie. Next, we're gonna talk about the chocolate cake, right? So the goal on your social media is really important. You're not just creating content for no reason. You create content for a purpose, for an intention. And hopefully that intention involves a transaction, right? At the end of the day, you have a business to run, and there's a reason for you being on social media. You're being on the social media to make the connection, to do the networking. But ultimately, you want people to notice your business and turn that into a paying client, right? Those are the purposes that we want to focus on. But what traditionally what people do is I'm going to create a post and I'm going to say book a call with me. Here's my discovery call calendar. And what do you notice is that people are not ready to buy from you yet. And this is something that I had talked about during my signature workshop. Is that people are on a journey with you, right? So different people come across your social media. They know you on a different level. Some people don't know you at all. So you're giving them an opportunity to get to know you. And when you create content to get to know me, that type of content has a different purpose, have a different shape and different tone, different way of addressing to your audience. Okay. Not everybody is going to be come to my bedroom, right? You want to invite people to stay on your patio first. Let's chat on the patio before I invite you to my home. Then once they get to know you, then you want to invite them to your living room, right? Where you serve coffee, you serve cookie, and the next thing you know, you're going to invite them to the kitchen so that they can have a meal, right? So different people come to your home for a different reason, and therefore all your social media posting needs to have a purpose. It needs to have a goal. So what are some of the goals that you can have for your social media posting? I will share another article. I did a blog post on this, so I will share that article with you once I get off the call. Or you can go check out my blog post on elevatelifecoaching.org. On the resource tab, you'll find all these blog posts and webinars. So here are the six, actually five. I'm gonna narrow it down to five for you so that it's clear, it's easy for you. so that you don't have to like think about, oh, what is my goal here. So there's basically five major goals for all your social media posting. There's the community building. Okay, you're building a network of people, you're inviting your audience, your tribe into your space, whether it's a Facebook group or maybe it's an email platform. I personally love the email because it's like more engaging, and I can have conversation, a private conversation with anyone who's on my email. So you can do a community building where you invite people to come and join you, your tribe. Engagement, right? Engagement is where the part you ask engaging question. What is it going through or going over? Which one is it, right? That's an engagement type of social media post. Sometimes you got to be careful, right? Because a lot of people use engagement and use it as a bait, and you see that, you probably have seen it in a lot of these groups where they use it as a bait. I just created a lead magnet, who wants it? And you see people jumping on, right? So those are called engagement bait. They're baiting you so that you would say yes, and what you get next is a DM in your private chat, right? Because you say yes, so people are gonna reach out to you. So just be careful. If that's an engagement bait. Okay, you can use it when you really have something that's valuable that you wanted to offer to your community member, right? Not everyone wants your cheat sheet, but those who does, you can send it to them privately. So that's a I would say a pro tip. All right. So then next goal would be a sales. A sales would be like I have a course coming out, right? So if you're interested to sign up to a 5-week course, here's a link to sign up, and this is where it is. So sales is very straightforward. And here's a booking, go ahead and click on that booking and book a breakthrough call with me or discovery call with me. Sales is very straightforward. The brand awareness is more like things like, oh, hey, I'm Michelle, I'm a visibility coach, and I help women coaches to have a better story so that they can convert clients into paying clients, right? So that's more about creating that awareness about who you are as a brand, as a company, as a coaching business, so that people know that this is what you do. So brand awareness can ranges from something that's very inspirational. Maybe you just want to share your inspirational stories. That's also a brand awareness type of posting. Authority is where your post is more about here are the facts, right? So throughout the day, every single day, any individual will run through 70,000 thoughts in their life, and that's a fact, right? So when you approach it that way, people knows that this is someone who's speaking from the expert field, who knows what they're talking about, right? So those are the type of posts where you demonstrate your authority, and that is the purpose behind you creating that post. And then the last one is about growth. Growth, you can tie that into the community building. It's about growing your network, growing your email community, growing your Facebook. It's about growth or community building. So you can combine the community with the growth. But these are the five major social media goals that you would have. So once you finish, okay, we're on the second part, the production, right? So we have the idea capture. The next would be to move it to production. And once you're ready, right? So let's say I'm going to give it a goal of sales. Um, so I'm going to give it a goal of sales. So at the end, right, before I end this, I'm going to say, if you're ready to eliminate your negative self talk, here's a link to my calendar. Let's have coffee. And then you can link it to your calendar. Now, this particular post, it's going to be for my sales. If I were to use it for a community building purpose, right, then my call to action would change. My call to action would be want to connect with more like-minded people. Here, come join us, right? So depending on your goal, your call to action would change, would vary, right? You would have different call to action. You're never going to have just book a call with me, book a call with me, which people get really fatigued. There's something called like action fatigue, right? They stop taking action, they stop paying attention to you. And you don't want that. So you wanted to make sure that every single thing that you post has an intention, has a purpose, is served something to someone, and that can be helpful, that can be useful. All right. So now I'm ready to give it a specific date. Right. So let's say this post is going to come out tomorrow. I'm working this ahead of time. And remember, we're not doing the heavy lifting, right? We're not a heavy eating buffet person. Piling everything onto one plate. We're going to do this at a slow burn process where you plan it ahead of time, and you can do this not in one sitting, but throughout the day. Add a little bit of something, or like maybe tomorrow you have more time, then finish the whole entire post in one sitting. So you really have that flexibility of how often and how fast you want to finish that particular post. Let's say I'm going to schedule it for tomorrow. All right. So that's just one post and one idea that we had captured. And if I were to go back to what I showed you earlier, this is where we capture all the ideas, right? So it's going to go under master content worksheet, and everything, all the idea that I captured running through my head would be in here. All right. So the next tab, you'll notice it's a content calendar. If you click on the content calendar, this is what it will look like. It's a calendar system so that you know exactly when a particular schedule of posts is going to come out. So the beauty about this is that you can have a 9 to 5 job, right? But let's say you have more time on the weekend, you can sit down on a weekend, hopefully bringing your drink, having a margarita or something on the side, and you can create your whole entire week, if not your whole entire month of content in here, because you have already captured all these ideas. So let's say this particular, how do I say no to my colleague when I don't want to work overtime? I want to create this post for Friday, no, let's say Monday the 15th. I'm going to schedule that for Monday 15th. I want to, how do I silence negative self-talk? I wanted to schedule that one on the 16th. So when I go to the content calendar, this is what you're going to see. So of course I didn't fill in all the details, right? Again, you do it over a period of time. And you're going to see like all these different blocks that has content already. So when you click on it, all these ideas is already written, okay? And what I do is I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to move this to my next process, which is release. We're going to release the content from here. Okay. Remember, this is only for note taking, right? I'm taking notes from here. I'm doing the planning in here. Then you can either move it to, whatever scheduling app that you use. There's a lot of them. There's Plan That. There's Later. There's Social Bee that allow you to post pretty much everywhere, right? Your YouTube, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, Facebook, your Facebook group. It allows you to post everywhere. There's also Hootsuite. All of them have functions, similar functions, and not every single one of them would be the right one for you. So what I would recommend is you pick a few and you test it out which scheduling app is most intuitive, most feels right for you when you want to schedule your post ahead of time. Or you can simply just copy all the caption, which you already created in Notion, right? And you can do copy and paste. Let's say you're someone who's not creating content every single day, and you just want to have like a system where you can store your ideas, map it out, and then when you're ready, you're just gonna do it manually by yourself, right? To copy and post it on your social media. You can totally do that too. And again, Notion is free, right? You can open a free account and you can do this, capture ideas, move it to production, and then lastly, you can release it by posting it manually one post at a time. And let's say you have Canva and you want to add a graphic in here, you can just do a drag and drop. So let's say, for example, I'm going to drag a graphic here, so I can just drag it and release it. There you go. So this is the graphic I'm going to use for my next post, right? So everything is being stored in your Notion app, and you finish the production. It's ready to go. You can then copy and paste it onto your social media website. All right. So here is the last part, right? So let's say you release it. 2 months down the line, you want to be able to reuse some of the content, some of the repurpose what you have already created. Maybe this can be a post. So there's a tab up here. It's called content repository. Content repository, basically it means that it shows you where the topic is. So this particular topic is on judgment. So by the time I finish, there's going to be tons of content that I can create around the topic of judgment, right? All these are going to be filled with the same topic. I can come back here and look at what I have created, I don't know, a month ago or 2 months ago, and see what can I repurpose. So, but everything is still stored in here. All right. So that is a system I use, and I'm going to show you. I didn't want to show you this earlier because that's going to overwhelm you. um, but this is an example of my content calendar, right? So all of these are all the contents that you have seen or follow as if you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. These are the posts I have created ahead of time, and I'm always a week ahead of time, right? So right now I'm still creating this post, so I'm just going to capture the idea first, and then down here I can jot down some of the ideas I want to talk about in that post. Okay, so it's not done yet because I don't have the photo yet. I don't have anything yet. So it's not done yet. So when I have time today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here and I'm going to fill in the blank. I'm going to give it a photo. I'm going to give it a caption. I'm going to highlight a couple of hashtags that I can use in the post. So it's what you're seeing is a accumulation of all the ideas that was captured based on my story, based on what I want to teach, based on what I want to say. So there are three topics that, or actually a couple of topics that I focus on, right? There's visibility strategy, there's storytelling, there's I don't know, like productivity with Notion. How do you save more time in your content creation? Those are the things, those are the topic that I would like to focus on. And based on that topic, like for example, this one is going to be motivation. Based on that motivation, it will give me an idea of what I want to write about. How do I want to approach it? So again, it's a very intentional, purposeful creation way of creating your content. Okay, so that's a lot. But this is the system that I use. So I'm going to share this link with you. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to, first of all, create a Notion account, a free Notion account, and you're going to open up, click on that link that I just dropped into the chat. Click on that link, and you're going to make a duplicate. The way that you make a duplicate is you go to the top right hand corner. It's going to say duplicate. And so you can make a copy, and the same exact templates is going to show up on your Notion account. And from there, right, we talked about three process of how you create consistent content, right? What are the three process? Number one is to capture your idea, and the ideas came from your signature stories, right? The topic that you want to focus on for your coaching business that will lead them into your program. Okay, so capture those ideas, the topic that you want to focus on, give them a piece of pie, not the whole entire pie, just a section of it. And from that idea that you capture, move it to production. Okay, start writing it. And the way that you write it, you don't just do it in one sitting, you break it up into whatever time that you have at your hand. If you find yourself like scrolling around social media and just wasting your time, right, that would be a good indication, good sign that you can put that time into good use. So go into, and you can download Notion on your mobile device. Okay, so you go to your Notion and think about, what do I want to write about today, right? And so you start accumulating your content over time, but never in one sitting. And then the last piece is release, right? So you can look at your calendar and see, oh, I don't want to talk about judgment today. Today, I want to talk about visibility. So what I can do is I can drag it around and I can place it to where I want to talk about next. Or maybe today I want to do, how do I silence negative self talk? So I can move these pieces around depending on what inspires me, what's going on in the world, and what are some of the things I want to talk about today. Like if you have something that you want to market and promote right away, and that cannot wait, then you can feel free to move things around. It's just so much easier. Okay, so I am going to also drop the five W and 5W and 1H video for you, so that you can go back and you can take a look on how I compose in terms of the production part. I know a lot of people have trouble in the production part, because when you sit down, you're not really sure what to write about. So that video is going to help you um, to really give you more idea of what to write, because it's like you map out of how the way that a social media post would be created. All right, I'm gonna drop the link into the chat as well for you. And I think that's it. Well, there was something else. Oh, the blog post. So the blog post, I would also drop that into the link. All right. So hopefully this is helpful. And so I would love to hear what topic regarding the content creation you would like to hear next. Okay. This is something I'm very passionate about. And as you can see, my Notion app is like massive, right? I did this ever since I had my business. Um, it's a process I've been using for a very long time, and I never had to create content on the fly. I always plan it out ahead. And this is a system that I use. So let me know what other topic that you would like to hear that would really help you, and getting off that hamster wheel that you have to feel like being pressured. I need to show up, but exactly what do I show up with? And a lot of things that we talk about, I showed you how to do it as a post, but a lot of what we talk about, you can apply it to your reel creation. You can apply it to like this video creation. Like for example, this video I'm creating today right now. I map it out on my Notion, right? So I don't create something just on the fly. Like this is what my notes will look like. So today we're talking about how to create consistent content on social media. And if I were to open it up, that's exactly what I did. This is how I map out all my content. And so I never have to like feel like, oh, I don't know what to say next and how do I organize this, because you already planned that ahead. So hopefully this helps. Let me know, drop it into the comment what you would like to hear next. And let me know if this is helpful. You would like to see more of it, then I would actually definitely have another content creation workshop schedule ahead, so that you can come and actually work on it. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again on the next training video. So I'll see you next week. Bye.